Today on an all-new Dr. Phil.
This organization wants to terrorize me.
Imagine believing your every move.
You said 10 to 15 stalkers followed you.
Is being monitored.
I have 1,784 pieces of evidence. He signaled a car. Did you see that hand motion?
Is he dealing in reality?
You said you had a stalker on your roof. Were the police called?
They were.
They have no record of it.
Or paranoia?
Maybe it's not happening.
I'm afraid of you. I'm honestly afraid of you.
Let's do it.
Have a good show, everybody. Here we go.
I hate to see people suffering, and you've hurt long enough.
Stand by, Dr. Phil.
Both of you, take
I'm going to get you the help that you need.
In 5, 4,
This is going to be a changing day in your life.
go, Dr. Phil.
How you doing? Hello? How you doing, guys? Okay, I want you to imagine something for me. I want you to imagine waking up every day feeling like you're being watched, followed, your every move monitored. Think about that for a minute. You question everything in your life and every person you meet. Well, that is exactly what life has been like for my first guest for the past 4 years. He thinks there is an organized group of stalkers conspiring to ruin his life. Take a look.
I've been a successful attorney. I started one of the first cyber cafes in the country. After I worked for the San Diego Padres, I started my own nonprofit. It would appear on the surface that I'm a really successful guy that has it all together. But the last 4 years of my life have been nothing more than hell. I feel like I've been practically raped every single day of the year. I'm being stalked by a technologically advanced organization. At one time or another, and sometimes all together, every single device I have owned, whether it be computers, cell phones, car GPS, has been compromised, hacked, and really taken on a life of their own. It is so hard for me to tell people about this because I know it sounds crazy, but it is so real. There have been instances where I have been recorded, both on video and audio, where things have been repeated to me that people could not possibly know unless I was being recorded. I have tried getting different types of firewall, different types of computer protection, antivirus programs, different types of routers. I'm on my 7th computer. I probably purchased 25 cell phones. I've spent easily over $20,000 in the past year. It doesn't matter. They're going to hack it. There's no escaping these people. Why are they doing this to me? Are they trying to embarrass me, humiliate me, terrorize me, ruin my life? Just the fact that I don't know what they want is enough to drive me crazy.
So who would want to do such a thing? And more importantly, why? What's their end game? Well, Matt says he has a pretty good idea.
There's no question in my mind that there is a $60 million technologically advanced corporation out there that has nothing better to do with their millions and millions of dollars than to toy with people's lives. For lack of a better term, I've actually referred to the people stalking me as the organization. You would never know that these people following me as stalkers. They just blend right into the crowd. I will go to a restaurant and it will suddenly become filled with the people following me. It makes it really hard for me to eat. As recently as a few weeks ago, I went to the supermarket and it became pretty obvious I was being followed because as I walked down each aisle, people would stop their cart, look at me, and text. I know they're alerting others as to my whereabouts. I received a text from a woman who actually thought I was another member of the organization that she was texting. It says, "Hi David, it's Jenna from the org. How are you?" And I responded, trying to catch who she is. "Hey, I'm good. What project are you on?" She responded, "No project," with a question mark. "I'm just saying hello." I said, Cool. What's the exact name of the organization? Just verifying." At which time, I basically got no response. I know that several people I've dated, my last 2 roommates, and my neighbors were involved in this organization. One of the ways that I know that everything is fresh and accurate at all times is because I write every single thing that happens down right after it happens. On 3/10/2013, he was clearly at the drugstore because I saw him answer his phone. I think he was there spying on me for the organization. How else did he know I was going to be there? I don't believe I'm the only one being stalked. I think we're all part of a major game like the Hunger Games. We're being tracked by a lot of computer geeks around the world. There has to be an end goal. I just don't know what it is yet.
Well, I'm glad to meet you.
Thank you. Pleasure meeting you too, sir.
And tell me why you wanted to be here today. What's the end game for this, in your view?
I'm asking for nothing more than an open investigation.
All right. And you know that I approach this from a different point of view in that I am a mental health professional.
I do.
Is that good or bad?
I think in this case, I have like a little game I play, and you know, like rock, paper, scissors. I play a game called Evidence, Substance Abuse, Mental Health, and evidence wins.
Let's agree on that.
Okay, thank you.
Let's agree that evidence wins.
Okay, I appreciate that.
Now, Matt says that he's even caught some of the stalkers actually on tape. And you said evidence trumps, so let's take a look at this.
Yeah. The street rustle that you see is not used very often. Now, as cars are going by me, you might notice they're going to start to slow down, and they're going to make right turns. There are just too many cars turning up. 3 straight cars and another one turning. That's 4 cars in 3 seconds that just turned on the street. Maybe he turned because of the traffic, but I don't believe so. But I'm also sane enough to know that there are other reasons a car can be turning. Here's a gentleman. What the hell is this gentleman doing on this street? Look, he's not crossing the street because the light's going to change and he's not going to turn. He's looking around. Why is he looking down that street? Is he waiting for someone? Doesn't look like it. He is not happy about me in this car. It looks like he just gave this person a little wink. Don't worry, I got him covered. Another car. Wow, 2 cars in 1 second turning. He just made, if you look carefully, he signaled a car. Did you see that hand motion? Can we go back? And right about now, any second, there was the hand motion. It doesn't look very scary from this video, of course not, but when you're living this and knowing what's happening, it's terrifying.
So that proves what to you?
Okay, by the naked eye, that doesn't prove anything. To me, I know what happened before the video started. I know that I had been followed that day. Okay, I also know,
Well, but we said evidence is going to control the situation.
Correct.
What does that evidence show?
That corroborates.
Here's more video evidence that Matt took a few months ago. Take a look at this.
On this video that you're going to see, I am leaving a person's house up in the hills late at night. Right at there, a car is already driving by. Now, this is not a surprise to me because I knew I was going to be followed when I left because I was followed there. And there we go. We have the second car already. There should be no one out of their house at this time of night. I see the 3rd car. It's 2 o'clock in the morning right now. Okay, I'm coming to a stop sign almost every single time when I'm in a situation where I'm being followed. Right there we go. This car is parking. Why would a car park on the middle of up turning his car off? 4 cars in a 1-minute drive. I'm almost down the hill. Up, another car's lights went on. That's 5 cars we counted in 2 minutes. We're winding down. Look at that. 2 o'clock in the morning and there's 2 people sitting beside their car. It happens every single time I'm being followed. Ask yourself how many times that happens to you.
This that's happening are these cars pulling out, turning their lights on or off.
Dr. Phil, it's very scary. If you knew, if you knew what happened before I went to the home that I was leaving from, then you wouldn't even doubt why I'm saying I'm being followed.
Well, then tell me what it is.
Okay. I responded to an ad on Craigslist.
Right.
Okay. I look for certain ads that obviously correlate to the things that I want to, that I believe is this organization. And they have certain words that they know that is characteristic of me. Certain words like chill, kick it. I know that they're like setting up bait for me when they're using words like that. It sounds crazy, but I do a search in the Los Angeles city on Craigslist, and then I do a search in a different city, and I count how many ads have those words in it. And the answer is 0 in, like, let's say Boston, but you'll see 25 in Los Angeles, which is mean that they're just setting up for bait for me.
Let me tell you, the nomenclature of LA versus the nomenclature of Boston, there are differences in language between what's used there and what's used here.
Sure.
You live in this area, you use those words, and other people use those words. And I really was curious when you said, look at these cars pulling out and lights turning on. I've got to tell you, that seems to me to be absolutely non-indicative of conspiratorial behavior.
I was hoping you weren't going to start to show off in this way, because if you put everything in perspective to the other hard evidence, people wouldn't find what I'm showing to be
Well, but
surreal.
you don't get to tell me what I get to ask.
Absolutely not.
We're going to look at the rest of the evidence.
Okay.
Does Matt's oldest friend believe him? What does he have to say? And later, Matt requested a mental evaluation. Will he be open to the results? We're going to find all of that out when we come back.
I don't know how old Dr. Phil is, but I have more experience as an attorney than you do as a psychiatrist, and it trumps you. My evidence overrides whatever psychological opinion you make of me. There is nothing wrong with me. I'm the sanest person you're ever going to meet.
Tomorrow on an all-new Dr. Phil. Did this out-of-control teen try to poison her family?
I wasn't trying to kill them.
You poured floor cleaner in their soda.
With a home life in chaos.
Danielle drinks, but you say all 15-year-olds drink.
They do.
No, they don't.
It's time to take drastic action.
I've decided to do something that I've never done before on this show.
America's most watched talk show. That's tomorrow.
Matt says the past 4 years have been hell because he's been followed, stalked, wiretapped, and hacked by an unknown group of people trying to terrorize him. But one of his oldest friends says, let me tell you something, Matt is too smart to be crazy. His term. Take a look.
I have known Matt for 25 years. I have never known Matt to be delusional or paranoid. A crazy person doesn't preface what they're going to say by saying, it may sound crazy, but Matt says, I know this sounds crazy, and he's very specific about what's been happening, so it doesn't make sense that he's crazy. One time, Matt said somebody was up on the roof and he heard footsteps, and that the person fell off the roof.
Listen, I don't know what the guy was doing on my roof. He could have been installing some kind of listening devices. I just don't know.
There was never a time when I thought he was making these things up. Because he's honest, he's straightforward, he's loyal, and he's very smart. So it's not inconceivable that somebody that Matt met is somehow following him on the internet.
All right, joining us on Polycom is Matt's longtime friend, Rick. Rick, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having us, Dr. Phil.
So what do you think about this? You're in his world. You're out there with him. You know him.
I'm here because I want to be supportive of him, number one, and because I suspect that whatever is happening to him probably is happening to other people.
It's also in the audience is Paul. He's another good friend of Matt who says that he certainly believes in Matt. So, Paul, tell me what you're thinking here is based on what you know and what you're hearing unfold as we go along here.
Sure. I do believe what he's saying. Yes.
Okay.
I do
All
believe
right,
it.
so you believe it, and your other friend believes this. So you've got some support people in your world that say, you know, he's just not making all of this up. You know, we asked you what you thought was behind it. You said there were 7 possibilities, and you didn't want to be too specific because you don't want to slander anybody, of course, and we're careful not to do that. You said it could be the mafia, could be Scientologist, could be a billionaire ex-relationship, veteran support organization, a friend that you threatened to sue, a bail bondsman, or drug dealers or clients. Out of the 7, what would be your most likely?
Well, I would say the most likely, I don't believe it's any of them, okay? I've just put that in to show people that there is a realistic possibility that this is happening. I have my own conclusions, and
What are they?
well, you said it on the at the beginning of the show. I believe it's a game, kind of like the Hunger Games,
Right.
by a lot of cyber geeks all around in the world, and I don't know what the end game is for them, but I believe that's the only way I can come up with a conclusion as to how they can afford to do this.
Okay. Well, you had some very specific examples of being stalked. Like you said, you had 10 to 15 stalkers followed you into a grocery store and actually followed you aisle to aisle. We got a hold of the security tape for that grocery store
Okay.
when you were there.
Okay.
And let's take a look at that. This is you in the circle.
Okay.
I'm looking in this aisle, then the second picture from the left in the top. Third picture, there's not anybody in that aisle. Fourth picture, fifth, sixth, seventh. We had an investigator look at this entire tape, and trust me, these are very representative of what was on the entire tape there. And we didn't see anything on the tape that looked out of the ordinary. We took very representative stills here, and I don't think there's 10 or 15 customers in the entire store.
Well, Dr. Phil, it's very hard for me to really argue with you because, I respect you so much.
But do you want to argue? You said
don't.
you want to find the truth.
I do
here.
want to find the truth. And
But
unless
it sounds like what you want to do is confirm your belief, whether it's the truth or not. Because if I challenge it, then you go, well, I respect you, but, come on.
I do respect you, but I haven't seen the tape myself, and I know there were a number of other people in there, and,
Well, there certainly weren't.
Okay.
There's not evidence there of 10 or 15 people that seem to be attending to you in some way.
Well, there's not one picture there of me walking by really anybody, and to think that I walked up.
Well,
and
no,
down
that's true. No, look at number 2, second on the
because
left.
that's one.
You're walking past the person there.
What happened five seconds before that?
Well, look at third from the left on the bottom. There's a person going by there.
Okay.
You look at bottom left. There's a person walking by there in the bottom right hand of the screen. And there's 2 people right by you on your right that appear to be looking into the poolers or whatever. There are people in those pictures around you.
Okay. There's a legal term called declarations of against interest, and I don't think I would subject myself to this if I didn't truly believe this was happening. I know you're going to say, well, I know you might believe it, but it's not happening.
I didn't say it wasn't happening. I'm just looking at the evidence.
Okay.
Well, you said, for example, one of the things you said is that they have hacked into all your electronics,
Right.
correct?
Right.
And you provided those to us.
Right.
And we took them to a forensic lab
Right.
and had them examined.
Correct. And what does the expert say?
Well, I've got to take a break, and then I'm going to get that interpreted to you. Well, my guest Matt says that what he believes to be true may sound strange, but he says it's become a way of life for him because of what's going on. He says he's certain that he is being cyber-stalked and followed by a large group of people who are all part of a technology company that he calls the organization. Now, he asked for specialists to review his evidence and scan his computers, cell phone, and hard drives for proof. And we've recruited one of the best. Doug Kane is a private investigator and president of Risk Control Strategies. Take a look at this, and then we'll talk.
What we're trying to do is make a determination if there's any type of software or malware that someone could be accessing his computers remotely. One of the things that Matt had provided here was a cord that he believed that this contained a method that they were attacking him. It's basically a standard phone cord that is found in everyone's household. This phone cord is not unusual in any way. Even though we're up to this point with our investigation, we still have some documents to review. Once we complete it, we'll know definitively if Matt is being stalked in any way.
Well, joining us in the audience is private investigator Doug Kane. Tell me what was done with these devices, and then we'll talk about what was found. But first, what was done?
So we brought them into our lab, our technicians, and went through them, made backup files, made clones of the copies so they could then go on and look for any software, malware, keyloggers, any type of tracking software that might have been put on those computers.
Okay, so these are the phones.
Correct.
And you gave us these.
I did.
Did they find that this was being bugged, hacked, spied on?
No, we evaluated all the files. We evaluated all the programs. And at the conclusion, we found absolutely no evidence of any keyloggers, tracking software, or any type of malware that was placed on there by a third party.
You're a computer, expert, and I'm gonna, and you're still not explaining to me how 20 computer files all have a virus marked with the same, name referring to this company. And they're all individual files that came from different dates. And it didn't happen 20 days ago. It happened 3 months ago. And as I tell you, they access my computer frequently. So anything, and they're also, technologically, they're worth $3.880 billion. I mean, obviously they have computer technicians there with expertise even greater, as much as I respect you, even greater than yours. If they wanted to clean the computer, they can easily do that. I wouldn't put anything past an organization of that capability.
Okay, all I can say is there was nothing on those
Okay,
computers
I
when we
respect,
examined.
your analysis.
Well, but I don't think you really do.
I don't.
I mean, you say that to be nice because you're a nice guy.
I don't respect it at all, but I think he did a professional job. And
Yeah.
I don't doubt for 1 second, I don't think he's part of a conspiracy. I don't think like that. I respect every single thing that he probably did to the computer,
Yeah.
but he's not, but what I'm trying to say is, like he referred to that wire, which really bothered me. That wire was never supposed to go to you. It had nothing to do with computers. It's an alarm system wire that ran. Okay, so I know that. I just, what you must think of me to think.
He
that I
didn't say
think-
it was a computer wire.
It was given to the computer expert to analyze as if it was part of
Yeah.
my interpretation. Do you agree with that, sir?
It was a phone wire, right?
The phone wire.
That had nothing to do with the computer. I gave it to them for other purposes.
Yeah.
Okay?
And the purpose was that you found this wire.
That's the wire.
This is the
Actually,
wire?
that should have been dismissed immediately. I realize that.
Well, we'll just.
Okay, cool. This wire ran throughout my attic, and it was not there when I moved in. On the day that I was moving out of the place, I went up there, and the entire attic was filled with these wires, and they were coming down into the vents of my home. And I took a photograph of that. You guys contacted the person, the two people that were there at the moment. I came down to try and show them the photograph, and the phone started vibrating and kind of it turned off. At the same time, I clipped the wires in front of them. So
What would this wire be for? What would your theory be about what it was? What was its purpose in your attic?
I would say video.
So you think you have hidden cameras in the house somewhere?
I do.
Have you scanned for it?
I have not.
Oh my God, you've done everything else. Why would you? That'd be the first thing I'd look for.
I mean, I search for cameras and stuff. But,
Yeah.
You know.
Because they can scan for those, right, Doug?
I know they can.
Absolutely.
Bring a
I
scan.
know they can. I know they can.
How are you feeling about this?
I'm listening and observing what you're saying. And, I'm really trying to understand the conversation here.
You know, this is a pretty serious matter to me, and I know it's kind of being, laughed at a little bit. I'm quite aware of that, and it doesn't have to be depicted in this type of matter. It could have, and it's your show, and I respect
Okay,
that.
now, wait a minute. I resent that.
I'm sorry.
I am treating you with dignity and respect. I am dealing with what you brought me, and if I don't agree with something, then you start being critical of it. And you might bully other people that way, but you're not going to bully me that way.
Okay.
You said you had a stalker on your roof. Were the police called?
They were.
They have no record.
Okay.
In 2009, you said you had a stalker on your roof. Did you tell us that?
I did.
Did you tell us that the person fell off the roof?
I did.
Were the police called?
They were.
And they came out, and you were surprised that when people came out, neighbors came out, they were all dressed in the middle of the night.
Correct.
And you thought it was really odd that people would already be dressed in the middle of the night.
Correct.
And you want to talk about evidence, so we contacted that police department. We had them search their records, not just from 2009, but all the way back to 2003.
Correct.
Okay, and here's what they said. They said, we can find nothing in our current records reflecting an incident with Matt finding a subject on his roof and assisting our department with an arrest. Our checks went back from 2003 to present. There was no record found concerning such an incident after checking the provided name, address, and the possible date of occurrence of 3909.
I'm aware of that.
So they have no record of it.
Okay.
Did you tell us that happened?
I absolutely told you that happened.
And that
I
is the police department.
Yes.
And they say they've got no record of it happening.
I'm shocked. Okay. I'm too sane to go into some kind of conspiracy theory, but I do know that I specifically, at least 7 days ago, or 5 days ago, asked your staff when we couldn't find the records, because I was part of the process of trying to find that record.
Right.
Okay. And I asked your staff to just please have a PI go over and speak to the next door neighbor to confirm that that did happen.
Yeah. But it's like, check my computer. Well, you didn't find something, you didn't know how to check it. If we go get video of the grocery store, well, you didn't look at all of it. We actually go get you physical evidence because I'm trying to help you.
Sure.
And what you do is poo-poo it and then insult the process because you say, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, although you have a theory that there is a conspiracy of hundreds of people from this giant organization that are trying to harass you for reasons you don't understand. And you have examples of people turning on their car lights or turning off their car lights. You had a cell phone that doesn't have internet service, and then all of a sudden it does have internet service when you don't have an internet cell service plan. And you said you talked to some woman who said, I don't know how that happened because we didn't do that. Well, we tracked that person down.
Which person?
This woman that you talked to at the phone company.
Okay.
And here I got a statement from her. I, Andrea, was a representative that assisted Matthew with his Pantech P7040 phone. He stated that there was no access of data on his account. I verified there was no access of data on his account, but his phone had signs of the device being on the internet, although he had no access to the internet. The phone was compromised. Due to the issue, I exchanged the phone to the same make and model.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. You know what I find interesting about that?
What?
It's when we find something that confirms an event, you go, exactly right.
Right. Well, there
You
haven't been
find
many.
something that doesn't confirm it, you go, oh, well, with all due respect. You question the validity and reliability of the search.
I'm just more disappointed, and if that came across as criticism, I apologize.
Yeah.
But, you know, it is disappointing to see some of those findings.
We got to take a break. Matt may be the first guest to ever request a drug test and a mental examination before the show. Well, he requested it, and again, we did our best to comply. We'll get the results of both when we come back.
The stalkers were creating what I call the perfect storm. If they can terrorize me when I'm high, I really have no ability to defend myself. For one, I can't go to the police because I'm high. I don't want to be arrested. I can't go to friends and seek help because they'll know I'm high and they won't believe me. And I said, you know, this must be happening only when I'm high.
Tomorrow on an all-new Dr. Phil, did this out-of-control teen try to poison her family?
I wasn't trying to kill them.
You poured floor cleaner in their soda.
I just wanted her to know that I did not want her around me anymore.
That's tomorrow.
Right now, at my insistence, I'm about to go in to get drug tested because I want Dr. Phil to know that I am completely clean. Okay, I just finished with my drug test. I'm waiting for the results, and I think everything went great.
My guest, Matt, says that he's reached out to the police and the FBI for help to prove a multi-million-dollar tech company is using every means necessary to monitor his every move and ruin his life. He says it's a kind of a game, is his best theory, but he admits he doesn't know. He says that it's difficult to get people sometimes to take him seriously. I think he's wondering if I'm taking him seriously, but I certainly am weighing everything as carefully as I can. Matt also told us about his past history with drug abuse, specifically methamphetamines. Now, he says that he's clean right now, but he's convinced the organization has motives for getting him to use again. Take a look.
I started using crystal meth about 10 years ago. I've been clean for the past 6 months, but I definitely noticed that there was a parallel between my using crystal meth and crazy things starting to happen. The stalkers were creating what I call the perfect storm. If they can terrorize me when I'm high, I really have no ability to defend myself. For one, I can't go to the police because I'm high. I don't want to be arrested. I can't go to friends and seek help because they'll know I'm high and they won't believe me. And I said, you know, this must be happening only when I'm high. And that made me continue to get high. I know that everyone's going to say, oh, he's just looking for another excuse to get high. But I was really going undercover in my own life. I stayed high maybe 3 or 4 months straight. And I figured out maybe it's not that I'm high, it's just that they think I'm high. So I started calling up dealers, and I would pretend buy the drugs, go into the bathroom like I'm hiding the drugs on my body, and then flush them down the toilet. So I would come out, and everybody in the world that was involved thought I was high, but I wasn't. I was undercover. So I'd walk out of the house, and I'd still start seeing cars stalking me. This is because this is what is happening. It was the full proof I needed to know, not only am I sane, but there's a pattern.
Okay, so in your reasoning and logic, the sentence, this happens more when I'm high.
Right.
Does that suggest any, not correlation, but cause and effect between your perception of what's happening and the use of mind-altering drugs?
100%. I mean, you're absolutely right. That's how come I stopped using. And it's been 6 months. And this continued to occur after I would leave a dealer's house or go to a dealer's house. The exact same things were occurring. I wasn't using. That's why I wanted to be drug tested. It's been 6 months.
Okay, well, okay, I put together a graphic because especially when I practiced, I did a lot of work on brain and central nervous system. These are the long-term effects of methamphetamines. They may include addiction, of course, psychosis including paranoia, hallucinations, repetitive motor activities, changes in brain structure and function, deficits in thinking and motor skills, increased distractibility, memory loss, aggressive or violent behavior, mood disturbances, severe dental problems, and weight loss.
Correct.
Okay, now among there is mentioned paranoia, hallucinations, and changes in brain structure. These are the long-term effects, not while you're high or when you're coming down.
Yes, sir.
But long-term effects that can be permanent or certainly take at least a year to really clean your brain.
Absolutely.
So is there a possibility that the use of these drugs extensively at times, as recently as 6 months ago, could have altered your thinking and reasoning to the point that you're interpreting things differently than what they might actually be?
Well,
is that an alternative explanation?
It's absolutely an alternative explanation. I certainly can't argue with that.
We know that people on meth have a tendency to become very paranoid while they're using it. Short-term effects, not long-term effects, but short-term effects. We know that it can stick with you for a period of time. What I'm asking you is it a possible alternative that while you were high, you perceived you were being stalked because of the way the drugs affect you and make you hypervigilant?
I'm a logical guy, so I'm going to say that it could be perceived as a logical explanation, but it could also be the perfect time to stalk me. If there was a schizophrenic person and he reported that he was being stalked, you probably wouldn't believe him because he's schizophrenic. So
I've always said the hardest thing in the world to treat is a paranoid that really does have somebody after them.
Right.
I mean, it is like,
right.
I mean, by the way, I didn't talk about the drug results. We did a drug test, and your drug test came back negative for all substances. So you.
Thank you.
Yes, we'll be right back.
Stalkers have used every possible means to keep abreast of my every move. My father's 85 years old and has a really hard time believing this, and that really hurts. It is so important to me that I vindicate myself so my father can go to his grave believing that his son is sane.
If you're going to be in the Los Angeles area and you would like free tickets, go to drphil.com and click on Be in the Audience.
Because we have a lot of fun here, don't we? Or you can call 323-461-PHIL. Matt says he is willing to take any test to prove his sanity because he's tired of people not taking his stalking claims seriously. Matt requested a mental evaluation, so I sent him to see Dr. Charles Sophie, a very noted and respected psychiatrist here in the Los Angeles area. Take a look.
Matt, thank you for coming.
Pleasure to have me here.
join
Thank you very
today.
much.
Do you think you need help?
I need help for what I've been through for the last 4 years. I'm being stalked and terrorized and harassed and cyberbullied.
Wow.
I would say I have 2,000 different evidence, and I would say that I'm only right about 70% of them.
You sleep okay?
I tend to rehash things in my mind so I don't forget them. One of the reasons I journal a lot and write things down is because as soon as I do that, I stop thinking about them.
And you have anxiety.
I don't.
But you're anxious.
I'm anxious for 4 years where I'm running. So if you think I can turn off the anxiousness, if I'm right and this is happening and you guys don't support me, you're giving satisfaction and achieving the goal that this organization wants, which is to terrorize me.
If we go through something and there's evidence and it's found to not really be, then you have to be open to the other option.
Okay, except for the fact that I'm also an attorney of 25 years. I don't know how old Dr. Phil is, but I have more experience as an attorney than you do as a psychiatrist, and it trumps you. My evidence overrides whatever psychological opinion you make of me. There is nothing wrong with me. I'm the sanest person you're ever going to meet.
Well, Dr. Charles Sophie is board certified in adult, child, and adolescent psychiatry, as well as family practice. He is the medical director for the County of Los Angeles Department of Child and Family Services. He's the author of Side by Side, the revolutionary mother-daughter program for conflict-free communication. And is one of the people in this profession that I have a great respect for. So please welcome Dr. Charles Sophie. Come on up. Dr. Sophie, good to see you. Good to see you. Take my chair because I'm going to do some stuff over here in just a minute. So you think because you've been a lawyer longer than he's been a psychiatrist that you trump him, even though you're in his field. So I've been doing this longer than you've been doing that. So if I come to the courtroom, do I tell you to sit down? I'm going to take over here because I've been doing my job longer than you've been doing your job? That doesn't sound rational.
Not at all.
Take it back.
I take it back.
All right. Now, what was your conclusion?
I mean, it's obvious that you're not crazy. You are not psychotic. You're not walking around delusional and confused and hallucinating. You're highly, highly anxious. You have drugs on board. Not now, but you've had a history of them. You had damage to your brain. And then you have ideas of reference. Ideas of reference are things when you look at that light, that's just a light to me. But if I'm highly anxious or I am a little delusional or paranoid or suspicious, I'm going to think there's something in that light.
Can I add something here that is just food for thought?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, it's just food for thought because one of the things that you have to think about is something that we refer to as personality disorders. And these things are arranged in clusters, and a personality disorder is an enduring pattern of inner experience. So these are lasting things. They don't just come and go. And there are three in what's called cluster A. One of them is a paranoid personality disorder. Look at what they assign to it. Suspects without sufficient basis that others are exploiting, harming, or deceiving him or her, is preoccupied with unjustified doubts, is reluctant to confide in others because of unwarranted fear that the information might be used against them, reads hidden demeaning or threatening meaning into benign remarks or events. And if you go to schizotypal, for example, it's what Dr. Sophie was talking about, ideas of reference, odd beliefs, unusual perceptual experiences, suspiciousness or paranoid ideation. It is an alternative explanation, right? I'm not saying it's the right explanation, but it would be one of the ones that if you were problem solving this, you would have to put it on the short list of considerations.
Yes, sir. It's an alternative explanation.
And the good news is these are things that can be treated where if this is contributing to your experience, you can be helped with that so it goes away. And if it's not, I mean, what have you lost? They're either, like you say, it's just a game, and you're giving them the power by reacting, or maybe it's not happening at all.
Can I make a trade?
Sure.
I will go through every single bit of therapy that you think I should explore if you would just open that one door to have all of my evidence inspected by the FBI?
Well, I can certainly make the referral to people who will listen.
Okay.
But I don't speak for the FBI. I can't tell you what they will do.
Okay. Then you'll have a deal.
How do you feel about coming here today?
I wish I never came here.
Why?
I'm afraid of you. How's that? I mean, I'm honestly afraid of you because I'm on national television, and what I want to say, I won't. And I have nothing but respect for you and nice things to say, but I just don't feel like you showed any of the other evidence. That's all. And I know you're going to say, well, you just can't show one piece. I told the producers before the show that I don't think this show should air in 10 days. I think this is something that you should do that would take 3 months of time. I have 1,784 pieces of evidence. I don't really feel like this person, as much as I respect you, ever saw the screenshots to explain how they got on my computer.
I'll make you a deal. How's that? I'll tell you what it is right after the break.
Okay.
Stop justifying your inactivity and avoiding the challenge of change. For help getting started, go to drphil.com for 11 seasons of advice, articles, and exclusive videos you won't find anywhere else. Plus, sign up for the Dr. Phil community to share your story and find support from others, all on drphil.com. Well, I'm back with Matt, and we've been talking about his perceptions of being harassed by a large organization, and he doesn't read something big intrigue into it. He just says he thinks it's kind of a game, like the Hunger Games, where they've targeted him and are having great sport at just harassing him and bothering him. And we've tried to tell the story here. He doesn't feel like we've covered everything that he would like us to cover. And he said, I told you producers, I don't think this show should air like tomorrow or in 10 days because I think it takes time to drill down on this. He has asked me to make a request to my contacts with the FBI, both active and retired, to look into this in a serious way, and I have agreed to do that. I've made that deal. Now I'll make you another deal. Okay. I will hold this show for 90 days if you will agree to spend that 90 days getting some help and see if it changes your perceptions.
You got a deal.
I am glad you came because I enjoyed meeting you.
Thank you very much.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Thanks, everyone. So long.